Hi, I'm Amelia and welcome to today's video in which I'm going to share some of the things that I have been making recently for my autumn and winter wardrobe. So recently I have been thinking about sewing for the cooler months ahead. It was quite unseasonably warm in London in September, so it's really only recently that I've been sewing some clothes for the autumn months ahead. But you'll notice in today's makes there are a couple of warmer pieces, and that's because we recently had a lovely holiday in the USA. Now you'll have seen from last week's video that I managed to get along to Joann's, which was definitely a highlight, but there were so many wonderful things that we did. We travelled to Houston in Texas to see some friends that have moved back to the States. We did some lovely things. We went to the zoo, we did lots of swimming, and just had a great time visiting with our friends. So it was a wonderful, wonderful break away and nice to see some sunshine. It was also nice to get to wear some warm weather makes. Some of the things I did take with me I have made recently, like my peony dress. I also wore lots of my other lovely summer dresses, and it was just so much fun to give them another airing before the winter sets in here in the UK. So with all that said, I'll start sharing some of the things that I've made. I've made 3 things for myself and I've made a couple of things for my daughter. I'll share the things for me first so that if you're not interested in sewing for children, you can then skip that part of the video if that's not something that you're interested in. So the first thing that I made was in a recent video. I shared a video recently of my 5 favourite jumper patterns and sweater patterns for the autumn and winter, and whilst I was sharing those I was making this version of the Nielsen Jarrah sweatshirt. Now this is in a beautiful pink French terry, which is a brushed back so it's nice and snugly warm, and it's from First for Fabrics. Now I've not worn this shade of pink before, but because of a very popular movie over the summer I've been seeing it everywhere, and I do like pink, so I wanted to give it a try. I did lengthen the pattern by a couple of inches in the end. I really wanted this to be a longer line jumper that I could wear over leggings and things. I spend a lot of my time on the bike taking my children to and from school, and especially in the autumn and winter I need a couple of cozy layers I can throw over leggings, and I would really like those to be me made rather than shop bought. So I'm trying to add these to my wardrobe, as in the autumn and winter I spend an awful lot of time in leggings and jumpers. Now this came together really quickly, really easily. It was a lovely pattern to sew. I like the Jarrah sweat pattern because it has got so many different variations, and for more details about those do pop over to my jumper and sweater video, which I'll link in the description box below, along with these patterns and fabrics if I can. So I made this version because it does have this dipped hem at the back. I'll turn it around so you can see it's a lovely long line and it's curved at the side, which just means it sits beautifully on, and I'm really glad I did lengthen it. It just gives me that extra coverage over the bottom that I like to stay nice and warm and cozy on the bike. The cuffs, I think there is a hack on the Megan Nielsen blog actually for making the cuffs so that you can put your thumb through them, which I might try if I do this pattern again. I have to say it does come up quite oversized. I did downsize I think by at least 1, maybe 2 sizes, and there's still plenty of room in this sweater. So if you prefer a closer fit, you may want to size down a few sizes. The finished garment measurements are pretty accurate, so do just check those if you're making it, and if you want to check how fitted you'd like your jumper to be. But I'm really happy with this. It's definitely been worn a lot. I did take it on the plane on the way to Texas, and it was a great, nice, warm, snuggly layer to wear there, and I have been wearing it a lot now that we're back in London. Now you will have also seen I shared in one of my more recent videos a little fabric haul from when I went to the knitting and stitching show here in London. That was such a lovely day, so nice to see lots of other sewers and see lots of lovely fabric shops in person. I did pick up some beautiful dead stock fabric from the lovely Meg at Pigeon Wishes, and I couldn't wait to get it turned into something. Now because it was such a beautiful print, I wanted to make something that didn't break up the line of the fabric too much. I just love these very vintage looking ovals here with the pictures of mums and children in them. I just think that's so sweet. So what I did is a very simple gathered skirt. I used the full width of the fabric, and then I just cut a waistband here using my favourite waistband, which is from the Helen's Closet Winslow culottes. And then I used a pocket pattern from, I think, the Bakerloo dress actually by Nina Lee, just because I had that pattern out for something else I'm sewing up. So it's a bit of a hodgepodge of patterns, this one. and then I just used the full width of the fabric and the full length that I had left. I think I bought 2 meters of this one. So it is more of a midi length gathered skirt. Now I really love this one. It's cotton lawn, so it's nice and light. It worked really well in the heat of Houston, but I think it will work really well over tights and boots with a long sleeve top and a nice snuggly jumper as well. Just because of that black base, I think it will cross over into the winter months really well as well. So lovely versatile skirt. I love the print and I'm really happy to have got that one made up. Do let me know in the comments below if you'd like a tutorial for this skirt. I could very easily put one together, perhaps as a video tutorial, although there are a couple that I'll link in the description box below, which are really great video tutorials on how to make a very simple gathered skirt. I did use an invisible zip for this one. I don't prefer elastic waistbands, so I do like an invisible zip, and I popped that in there. Now the next make I'm going to share with you is a little unseasonal, but it is one that I wore on my recent holiday, and it is this Lucca swimsuit. Now this is a Fibremood pattern. I was gifted the fabric by Minerva in exchange for a blog, so I'll link the blog post below as that's got quite a few more of the details about this swimsuit. Now I've tried to put it on the hanger so you can kind of get a sense of what it looks like, and I'll pop in a couple of pictures as well. This was such a lovely one to sew up. I cannot recommend this Minerva activewear and swimwear enough. I've sewn a few swimsuits and this is by far the best swimwear fabric that I have sewn with so far. It went through the machine like butter. It really sewed up so beautifully. It was an absolute pleasure to work with. Now I used also for the first time some hemline swimwear elastic. I haven't used it before. I tried it for the first time on this pattern and it is definitely again the best elastic that I have found so far for sewing swimwear. It went in easily, it was very comfortable to wear, and especially with this one-shouldered look, I wanted to feel like it wasn't going anywhere and it wasn't going to slip off, and I certainly felt very secure with this hemline elastic. I really liked the way the pattern came together. Fibremood instructions are definitely on the limited side. I think you can get more detailed instructions on the website as opposed to in the magazine, but the magazine was fine. It wasn't a difficult pattern to put together. So if this is your first time sewing swimwear, then I would suggest that this pattern could be a good place to start. Now, I have a smaller bust in proportion to my hips, so I did grade this pattern, I think from like a small around the bust to a medium at the waist and then a large over the hips. And this does have a lovely full coverage over the bottom, which is what I prefer. It sat really, really nicely on. And what I did do was add some rickrack around this flounce. I just thought that would give it a really nice touch. It's a lovely blue colour and I could have just left it as it was, but I just thought the addition of the rickrack was quite playful and fun for an otherwise plain swimsuit. This can be made without the flounce or with the flounce. It is a one-shouldered swimsuit and I love the look of it on. It was really, really pretty on. It sat beautifully. The only thing I would say is that I didn't line it. It is not a lined swimsuit, and I did feel like I could have done with an added layer of protection. The flounce was good in terms of coverage, but just in terms of getting out of the water afterwards, I could have done with a lining in the swimsuit. So if I do make it again, I will, I think, add a lining to the swimsuit just for that added layer of support and coverage. It wouldn't be a difficult thing to do, I don't think. The crotch area is lined and it's finished off nicely, so that's fine. But like I say, I think next time I would add a full lining. I absolutely loved wearing this. I did style it up with a skirt just to get to the pool, and I could definitely see myself wearing this as a bodysuit next summer, and I'm wondering about playing around with adding a sleeve here and wearing this in the winter as a bodysuit and just changing this crotch area a little bit. It's just such a lovely pattern to make and to wear, very, very quick and easy, so can definitely recommend, and I would like to play around with this one a little bit, perhaps with a nice black jersey for a top for the winter months. So that was it for my sewing for myself. Before I go on to my daughter's makes, I'll just briefly mention what I'm wearing today, and this is the New Craft House everyday dress which I made in a Lady McElroy cotton lawn. I think it's their Marlie cotton lawn. I love wearing this one. I did make it as more of a summer dress, but given the grey weather today, I thought I needed to do some dopamine dressing and brighten things up a little bit. So I've got this on today with tights. I've got a black jumper that I've put on when I leave the house later, and I wear it with tights and thick chunky black boots, which is a look I really enjoy for the winter months. I don't want to keep my colourful clothes just for the summer, especially in this grey, wintry weather we're having today. So for my daughter this month, I did make two things. Again, when I went to the knitting and stitching show, I saw Victoria from Little Rosy Cheeks had two new patterns out. She's got an oversized t-shirt pattern and she has a beautiful jogger pattern called the Hopper Trousers. Now I just knew that would be a great pattern for particularly my daughter, but I could definitely make it for my boys as well. It's a slightly flared jogger pattern with quite a fitted elastic waistband, and the best bit about this was that it has cute little heart pockets. Now you can just make simple pockets or no pockets at all depending on your preferences. So here are the Hopper trousers. They are so cute, and again I made them in a brushed back French terry that I bought from First for Fabrics. It's a lovely warm terry fabric. She wore these the other day and did not want to take them off again at bedtime. They are so snuggly and warm, and a lovely colour for the winter months. She wore them with a very lovely fluffy polar bear jumper, but it would be nice to make her a little coordinating jumper, as I do have some of this heart fabric left over, so we'll see if I get time to do that. So the pattern, I have to say, was excellent. The instructions were very thorough and very detailed, and if you're a beginner to sewing, they would be particularly good. There are lots of hints and tips about working with jersey fabric, about what stitch length to use, about sort of the zigzag widths and lengths and things like that for working with stretch fabric. So such a good pattern, especially for a beginner, and I just love the way that these came together. Very quick and easy sew, really enjoyable to put together, and like I said, she's really enjoying wearing these. Now I did ask on a previous video about recommendations for a cover stitch machine. It is my birthday on Friday, and I think I might be getting one for my birthday, which is very exciting. So I did finish these off with just a normal straight stitch on my sewing machine because this area doesn't really stretch out. I didn't have a Mariflex thread that matched, but for the cuffs, because these are particularly a flared trouser, I don't think it mattered that I used a straight stitch. Very much looking forward to getting my cover stitch machine so that I can finish these off beautifully and that they'll look quite professional. I'm holding out on making my children's winter jammies until I hopefully get my cover stitch machine and can learn how to use it, hopefully, by making their winter jammies. So that's the Hopper trouser pattern by Little Rosy Cheeks. I'll link that again in the description box below. It was a lovely pattern, and I can certainly see myself making many more pairs of these for my children. The pattern does go from ages 3 to 14, so it does have a great age range. Now the last thing I made for my daughter I did mention in a previous video, and it is the Liberty dress by Little Lizard King. I mean, so cute. This is a Christmas dress for my daughter, which I made using a fabric that was gifted to me by Belle and Boo. I love their fabrics. They've got such beautiful vintage prints for little girls, and I will link their website below. I've made a few things with their fabrics recently, and I just love the quality of their cotton. It's so nice, and it washes really well. So what I did with this one is I decided to make the version of the Liberty dress with the bib insert, with the frills on the collar, and with the long sleeves, especially going into the winter months, and I think I can pair this with a nice little pair of white tights for her. I did face the bib here. I lined it on the inside with the white as well, and then the rest of the bib is lined with this green cotton because I obviously didn't want the green to show through on the white here. I added the pin tucks. The frill went in beautifully. I do tend to hand baste my frills just so that they go in easily the first time, and I finished off the back with just some simple white buttons. These were actually pinched off one of my husband's shirts that he had to get rid of, but I did save the buttons, so they've been reused here, which is great. And yeah, I love the lovely full skirt here, and I just think that's such a sweet pattern. You don't have to make it with the bib. The beauty of Little Lizard King patterns is there are so many different variations on their patterns that you can do. This one comes with short sleeves as well for the summer. With this bib, without the bib, it has buttons down the front, it has pin tucks or no pin tucks. So many different things that you can do with this pattern. I had a lot of fun finishing this off as beautifully as I could. Like I said, I hand basted this. I was very careful with the sleeve plackets. This is quite a fine lawn that I used, quite a lightweight lawn, so I had to be very careful with that. And I did French seam everything on the inside and make sure that the inside was beautifully finished. So there are no raw seams, everything is lined and French seamed on the inside. Again, I just think for the longevity of the dress, I'm hoping this one can be passed down to my niece after my daughter is finished with it, and also perhaps to grandchildren eventually. But yes, I like to make these dresses so that they do last if I can. So that's the little Lizard King Liberty dress in a beautiful Ballonbu cotton. So that's everything I've been making in the last month or so. I do hope you enjoyed seeing those makes. As I said, I'll link as many of the fabrics and patterns as I can in the description box below if you'd like to go and check out any of those fabrics and patterns for yourself. If you've enjoyed watching today's video, please do give it a like, and if you've not yet subscribed to my channel, it's free. Please just click that subscribe button underneath the video and hit the notification bell. All that means is that you'll be notified when I release a vlog so that you can come on and watch it if you would like to. So thanks again for watching. I hope you have a happy week ahead full of lots of lovely sewing, and I'll catch up with you again soon. Goodbye!